Welcome into the Landon Tengwall Show and another episode of Penn State Head Coach Profiles. Today's profile is on Louisville head coach Jeff Brohm. We're going to have two more of these head coaching profile videos for you guys this week, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Stay up to date on all things Penn State football, and we will make sure you got everything you need for this Penn State coaching search. Today's video is brought to you by Hoover. Hoover is a workers' compensation management corporation. Since 1979, has grown its roots from PA to be one of the biggest private worker compensation corporations in America. So thank you to Will Hoover and Hoover for sponsoring this video. All right, in this coaching search, I'm not sure if there's anybody more Penn State than Jeff Brohm. And I know we're looking at guys like Matt Rhule and people that have played here, but I mean the type of guy he is. He is blue collar, tough, bring your lunch pail to work type of head coach. And he shows that in a lot of different ways. And one of the biggest ways is the car that Braum drives to work every single day. His 2004 Honda Accord, his first car that he ever purchased. Braum makes over $5 million per year, does pretty well for himself, but said he drives it to remember where he came from and always stay grounded. That Honda Accord, while he was coaching at Purdue, was actually towed out of his parking spot. And it was because mainly people did not believe that a head coach for Purdue would be driving a 2004 Honda Accord. So he got it back. I don't know, like if I said, if there's anything more Penn State, that sounds like a Penn State head ball coach if I have ever heard one. Now, before I get into the real information on Braum, I'd be remiss in my duties if I did not play for you guys the greatest Jeff Braum video to ever exist. Roll the clip.
After a punishing shot that knocked him out.
Jeff Brohm paid the price for that one.
I saw his head one way and his body, and I'm like, oh, goodness.
You know, his nose was out the side of his ear hole, and I was like, man.
His helmet was halfway off his head, and he was just laying there. I don't know if he was breathing or not.
The concerns for quarterback Jeff Brohm. So then they had to take him to the hospital.
Jeff Brohm, how in the world are you starting this game tonight after taking that hit just 6 days ago?
Well, let me answer that question by asking you two questions. One, is this or is this not the XFL? Yes, it is. Two, do I or do I not currently have a pulse? Yes, I do. Let's play football.
All right, sign him up, send him the contract. I want that guy to be the ball coach of my football team. That is fantastic stuff. One of the greatest interviews I've ever seen in football history. Now, we love all those personality traits, but that aside, who is Braum? Now, Braum is a very offensive-minded coach. He was a quarterback coach, then an offensive coordinator before he became a head coach for multiple teams. Now, although he played for the legendary head coach Howard Schnellenberger, his offensive background and who he learned from is actually of the Bobby Petrino coaching tree. That's where he learned his offensive philosophy. Petrino actually gave him his first college football coaching gig as the quarterback coach at Louisville in the early 2000s. Now, one of the interesting things that's different about Braum compared to all the other coaches for the most part that we're covering in this coaching search is that as a head coach, Braum calls his own plays on offense. Now, funny enough, Braum's offensive coordinator at his past 3 stops as head coach, his little brother, Brian, has had the title of the offensive coordinator, but Jeff continues to be the play caller. And he gave a quote about it, saying, "I would be cheating my team if I didn't use what I thought I was pretty good at to help us win. It's not like my brother couldn't do it, but I feel like it's my responsibility to continue to do that, and I still put that on my shoulders." Now, Braum is one of the best and most influential offensive minds in college football, but doesn't really get the credit or the recognition or just kind of the fanfare that the Lane Kiffins, the Lincoln Rileys, the Chip Kellys gets. He's kind of more under the radar, but you best believe everybody takes a lot of things out of Braum's offense over the years because he's been calling plays for almost 2 decades now at a very, very high level. Now, the most intriguing part about Braum and what he does as a play caller is his adaptability. So the best way to describe it is that Braum is not a system guy. He's a scheme guy. So when I say that, he looks at his personnel and he figures out, okay, what do I have? How can I adapt my personnel to best fit my play calling? I know that's a little bit triggering for many Penn State fans because that is what we were told that Andy Kotelnicki does and did. And obviously that has not really been fully true for Penn State here. But unlike Kotelnicki, Braum has some numbers that back this up. So while at Purdue, Braum's offense was one of the most pass-happy offenses in all of college football. At its peak, 65% pass, 35% run. That is pass-heavy if I've ever heard of one. And he had to do that, mainly because Purdue they didn't have the hogs up front that was needed to be able to run the ball efficiently in the Big Ten. So Braum said, all right, we're just going to pass the ball. We're going to sling this thing around. I'm going to get some good wide receivers, and that's the way we're going to try to operate. Well, he takes over at Louisville, and this is where you really start to see Braum's adaptability come into place. He came in and he said, okay, how can I fit this Louisville offense into what I do, and how can I adapt to what kind of personnel they have? Well, he said, we're going to move towards running the football. In 2023, Louisville's offense was 45% pass, 55% run. So there's the ability to change and adapt. You changed your offense by almost 20%. He went from 65% pass at Purdue down to 45% pass at Louisville. So that's a big difference there, and it shows his ability to make change when change is needed for his offense. Now, another thing that makes Braum's offense so efficient and just effective is how quarterback-friendly this offense really is under Braum. So he makes it generally so his quarterback is kind of just reading half of the field. He makes it so there's some decoy routes and really open up one specific route for his quarterback to hit. And generally, that specific route that he's trying to get open is the number one wide receiver in his offense. Number one wide receivers have thrived in the Braum offense up to this point. So graphic that we are putting up right now is every number one wide receiver in Braum's offense since 2018. It is clear that Braum never forgets about his number one guy. As you can see, multiple times he's had the number one wide receiver in the conference in yards, receptions, touchdowns. Very impressive how he makes sure game in and game out that his number one guy is going to get fed. He's not going to walk away with a game where he's got one target for, one reception. That's not going to happen. Penn State hasn't seen production from a wide receiver like that since Jahan Dotson was playing in the blue and white. So if you get Braum, it may be easier to go out, bring up, we'll go to the Landon Tengwall show, say, hey, Braum, I'll pass this on to you, show the transfer portal wide receivers how well number one wide receivers do in your offense, and boom, let's go out and get someone, and they know they are going to get fed the football because they are going to be playing in a Jeff Braum offense. Now, if you want to see a film breakdown of how Braum gets the ball to his number one wide receiver, I will do a breakdown over on the For the Bloggy website. I'm going to put the link to that film breakdown in the comment section below. All right, so Braum, he's fantastic. He's great. What's even better? His record versus top 5 teams. So something that Penn State has struggled mightily to do to knock off opponents. Right now, Braum, in his Power 4 coaching career as a head coach, he is 4-0 against top 5 opponents. And in every single one of those games, he is far and away, just overwhelmingly an underdog. It's never like it was very close. He finds a way to knock off very good teams. And that tells me that his players love him. They want to play for him. It is very easy to succeed under Jeff Braum. And like I said, it's fun when you got love for your coach. As a player, when you love your coach, it just makes it easier to get up every day, to go grind for him, to say, I want to win for you. And that's what you see out of these Braum-led teams. So you got all this. Braum is this fantastic coach, blue-collar, hardworking, elite motivator, always finds a way to win. Why wouldn't Penn State hire Jeff Braum? Well, I think the main problem is Braum is just about as Louisville gets. So obviously he was born in Louisville, went to high school there, went to college at Louisville, and had a successful career there. He is basically what Jim Harbaugh is to Michigan or Pat Fitzgerald is to Northwestern. Not just someone who played there and came back to coach, but someone that was a star player at his college and came back to be the head coach and just full on beloved in that place. So a bunch of family members played there too. Obviously, roots are set in Louisville. And I'm sure some fans are going to say, but doesn't he want to kind of climb the social ladder a little bit, make some more money? Yeah, I think that's how the average person would think. But as we've seen from the beginning of the video, this man drives his 2004 Honda Accord and basically had his neck snapped off and still wanted to play the next week in the XFL. So I don't know if Jeff Braum is most people. So Braum right now, 43rd highest paid head coach in all of college football. He's the 6th highest paid coach in the ACC. And I would argue he's probably the best or one of the best, if not the best, right there in the ACC. But he's the 6th highest paid and inching towards the 50th highest paid in all of college football. So it doesn't seem that Braum cares a whole lot about the notoriety of being, labeled as an elite play caller or wants to be some, the top head coach in America or make $10 million a year. It seems like he loves being a head ball coach, especially at his alma mater where he has gotten to do everything. That's where his coaching career started. That's where his playing days were. That's where his family is. So I think for Pat Kraft to find a way to get Jeff Brohm here, he would have to put together a nice package, but it would just take a lot of convincing. He would have to convince him that Penn State is ready for a guy like Brohm to embrace that. And like I said, I think it fits perfectly. I think Brahm's identity fits with the Penn State identity, but can you lure him out of Louisville? That's the biggest question for Pat Kraft in this one. All right, tomorrow we will have some more head coaching profiles for you guys. Mike Elko is up next. That's going to be a lot of film on that video. He overtook the defense at A&M. Some fun stuff going on. He is doing a fantastic job. I know he is high up on most people's list. So we're going to take a look at him, give you a deep dive on him and what to expect if Pat Kraft could land that higher. So we will see you guys back here tomorrow for another video. Please like, comment, subscribe. Peace.